Live.
Checking connection. Okay. I believe we're live.
Okay. Welcome to another edition of Let's Explore It from the Edgerton Explore It Center. And today, summer's in full swing. We've got a little bit of heat going on, nice sunshine. I hope you guys are enjoying what now is probably summer vacation. Today, we're going to kind of explore a little bit about the monarch butterfly. And because monarchs are one of the most fascinating of our butterflies that I think, because they make such a long journey for their migration. And right now monarchs have been coming back from Mexico where they overwinter and are making their way up through Nebraska, and they even travel up to Canada in different stages as generations go. So right now we're like into the second generation or so, and we should be looking for some monarch eggs. And so out here at the center we have been growing, these are common milkweed plants around here, and when you have milkweed, it's a special food for the monarchs. They lay their eggs on the milkweed, and then when the eggs hatch, the little caterpillars eat the milkweed leaves, and it has that milky sap that's in there, and grow. And once they get big enough, they will turn into a chrysalis. So we're going to look around here at some of our milkweed. You can find an egg. So usually the eggs are on the top part of the milk. All right, if you can see that, if you get really close, it looks like a little football, and the sides of it have little stripes on there. So what we do is, even though monarchs are in the wild, now we can kind of get a look at them, but we'll go inside where we don't have to listen to the trucks and the vehicles. All right. All right, as we come inside now, you can probably get a better look at the little egg. Let's take some of our other examples that are in the tote. You want to grab those?
Yep.
And we can go in here as we venture into our theater where we have some other fun things set up. Okay, we'll go over here.
Here,
So our fancy setup here, we've got a camera that we're going to project up onto our screen, and hopefully we can get a better look at that egg. Light on it.
There it is. Yep.
Can you see it?
Oh yeah.
All right, that's kind of what the tiny little egg is attached underneath the leaf. Okay? So they're not very big, and you probably think that they could be a bug or something. So
are there bugs on the milkweeds?
we do get different kind of bugs, and that's why sometimes I like to pick the milkweed leaf and raise them indoors, because they are ate by little spiders and little ants and little bugs and stuff, and this way we'll give them a better chance to grow, and their survival rate can increase a little bit. All right, so talking about them, so we have the egg here, and they hatch in a pretty quick time frame. 3 to 5 days for that little egg to turn into a little caterpillar. And I have a picture somewhere. Oh, I thought I had a picture. Might be on my desk. Let me look at on my desk. We'll get some sound for you here.
No, I just thought it would be a good idea to get on. But
Testing.
I know, but it's not coming on for some reason.
All right, test. Oh, there they were. Okay, test.
Continue talking. I'm gonna plug
Test.
the battery.
All right, so we're gonna get some sound here. All right, so when we talk about the egg, they're hatching. When they get ready to hatch, the egg will have a black little dot on it for the head. And on here, I have a picture of one that was just hatching right here, and you can see that
Try one more
it
time.
was crawling out of its egg, and there you have the little black dot for its head. So that one was just hatching. Here's one that, as he has hatched, and was crawling around. And so they really are tiny, 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 little caterpillars that you see crawling around. Now, it doesn't take long, and the little caterpillar starts growing and will eat the milkweed leaves. So what I do is, if I find an egg, I can put them in a little safe container like this here and have sound check, sound. So I keep each one of the caterpillars, there we go, in a little container because they do like to wander around as they search for new leaves and stuff. So in here I have my little nursery, and each one of them has a caterpillar. And as it's growing and munching along, you can see the leaf, and it has a little hole, and then here we have the caterpillar. So I have the leaf, I put a little moist towel on it to kind of keep the leaf fresh while the caterpillar can have a chance to eat, and then replace the leaf each day as they start eating, and then maybe toward the end they will be eating 2 leaves a day. You never know. So this one, if we can kind of see, it's got its stripes, so he's already moved on to the next instar. Let's look here at this one, because this one is another little bit older one. All right, let's see. Can you see both of those there? There. So there we have a couple different of our little caterpillars.
Bring the turn the light. There you go.
All right, as we're working with our lighting. So you see, both of them have already ate a hole in their leaf from this morning. And as caterpillars, as they grow, they have to shed their skin, so they will go, and they call that molting. Let's put those over there. I think I have a little one here. About the same size. All right, so anyway, in the caterpillar stage, you're going to go about 11 to 14 days before they get big enough. And right now, we don't have any in that stage right at this point because they're still the caterpillars. But they will grow until they get pretty large, 2 inches or so. And once they have reached that size, then it's time for them to find their way up to the top of the container, and that is where they attach themselves and start to form the chrysalis, which we have over here. So the caterpillar stage, then they go to the chrysalis. And in that chrysalis, that is where a transformation takes place. They form the chrysalis by actually like peeling their skin off, and they're inside of there, and that is the chrysalis. It's not like they have to spin the chrysalis and tuck themselves in. It's when they form, then they peel their skin off and they're in the chrysalis. And in the chrysalis, they're usually there anywhere 10 to 14 days as they start to change into the beautiful monarch that we see. And you can watch that chrysalis change from the green, bright green, and then a few days in, it starts to turn a little cloudy, and then maybe a little bit later, you might start to see some of the butterfly wings starting to form inside of there. And then by the time they're about ready to hatch, the chrysalis turns into a clear, translucent chrysalis, and you can see the monarch in there, and it is about ready to emerge out of its chrysalis. And then the life cycle starts all over again. And we see them going forth, and then we start over with the eggs again and some more. And then at the very end, so we talk about the journey that these monarchs take. So we're going to talk about how they start out. All right, here we go. All right, so we talk about how they have generations. So we have first one that is down in Mexico. In Mexico, they go up into the mountains and they will hang in the trees and overwinter. And then starting around March, February or March, then they will emerge or wake up and start the new generation for the new year. And then they start moving north. And right now, like I said, we're kind of into the second generation right here. So the first generation maybe is in Texas, Oklahoma, and then they start moving north again, said to the second generation, and then the third generation, and then as the fourth generation is really kind of a special generation too, because they're the ones that make the journey wherever they are, all the way back down to Mexico for the winter. So some of them, if they've migrated all the way up into Canada, we're going to see them have to travel all the way from Canada through Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, all the way down to Mexico. And that's where it's important that we have flowering plants for them to nectar on their journey. So not only is the milkweed important in the spring for them to eat and to lay their eggs, now we have to have flowers that are important for other insects too, for food. So in the fall, some of those beautiful flowering plants, asters and bee balm and pitcher sage, there's some really good nectaring plants that they can fuel up on so that they can make their journey down to Mexico and be able to survive the winter down there. All right, well, another little project that you guys can do if you decide to do a little bit of raising some monarchs on your own is maybe you want to make kind of a little picture booklet or whatever of the butterfly's life cycle here. And you can kind of document that if you found an egg, and you can, like I said, draw a little picture, make a little picture book about them. So here you would have your egg. Then as you have the caterpillar, like I said, the caterpillars can eat lots of milkweed leaves at that time. And then after they do that, here we have where they form their chrysalis.
Hey Deb, want to see if lifting up the page a little bit will make it easier to see? Our lights are not helping our... Ah, there we are.
Closer. All right, we'll go back.
There we go.
All right. So looking for the eggs, then we have the little caterpillar. So you can be creative and draw your own little pictures. And here, the chrysalis, and then the butterfly as it comes out. And then also in the fall, another little thing that you can do is, I like to do this too, is in the fall around September into September sometime, I have tags, and they are little tiny stickers that don't hurt the monarchs at all, and you go out and you can capture the monarch, net them in a nice net, has so it won't harm them, and take a hold of them very carefully, and then you can place this little tiny sticker, and it has a number that is specific to you. So I order certain tags, and when they're shipped out, they're logged in under your name and your address and stuff. So you can tag them and then release them, and a lot of times they have people down in the wintering grounds that will go around and recover your tags, and then you would find out that your monarch had made it all the way to Mexico for the winter, and they can calculate how many miles that monarch has traveled. So that's another fun project that you can do later on toward the fall, is to do monarch tagging. And we do that here at the center. I do a couple programs with that, and with the schools. And that's all on Monarch Watch and Journey North. You can do and follow along with those projects. Any other questions that you guys might think of that I've skipped?
So if any of our followers would like some more information on what Deb covered today, feel free to either use Facebook Messenger or Instagram Messenger to send the Edgerton a message. Deb loves to share about the Monarchs. So if you have specific questions on, now you have an egg in the house, how to care for it, because obviously we want to see all the monarchs possible live and survive and be able to do their amazing journey. So if there's any questions on the process she talked about, make sure to send us a message and she'll help to respond to that.
And then if you're looking for some reading material, if Deb want to flip that down, see how well it works. Oh, that turns out beautifully. It's a well-known book that's been out for a while, The Hungry Caterpillar. So if you want maybe a literature thing to go along with this, here's a really good book for that.
Yeah, it's got some good illustrations in it. Nice little picture board.
Kind of
scan
walks
through it quickly.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of see little caterpillar. So it would be a nice little book to kind of read to get you started, get your youngsters involved in, raising monarchs, going out and looking for them, and just having a nice garden. It doesn't have to be that you have to do the monarchs. You can just come and watch them. In the fall, many times out here in our prairie garden, it will be covered with monarchs because they're coming and fueling up, and just to go and watch them is pretty amazing to see the numbers. Last year I was witness to a big roost, and as they were migrating, the monarchs came, and outside on the edge of town we have the leadership center, and they flew in, and the trees were just covered with them as they were hanging and resting up for the night before they flew on, and it was amazing. I mean, to see hundreds and hundreds of them hanging in the tree. Okay, I think that probably wraps up our program a little bit with our monarchs, and thanks for joining us. I appreciate it, and hopefully you can send us, or like John was saying, some information that you were able to do with some of your, we call it like citizen science projects, and good luck with looking for little caterpillars.
All right, and we will see you again on Friday at 2.
for some other interesting project that we're gonna come up with.